Bribery allegations, protests, vandalism, Ukrainian discrimination, and destroyed businesses. This isn't a violent geopolitical conflict, it's the ongoing fallout from the hugely popular Netflix show Emily in Paris. Despite lukewarm reviews, the Netflix comedy drama starring Lily Collins from Sex and the City producer Darren Star experienced record viewer numbers upon its debut, with fans of the show tuning in for Emily's vibrant outfits and dalliances with various alluring European male leads, and non-fans of the show also tuning in to hate watch Emily being constantly offended by French culture and rapidly gaining Instagram followers despite just posting the same benign cliches that thousands of tourists post every year from the City of Love.
Oh, when you dropped your crepe. Hashtag oh crepe.
Before we get further into this, I'd like to apologise for my attempts at French pronunciations. In my defence, while clearly not perfect, I can guarantee you that there won't be any of this.
De leur.
De leur.
De leur.
De leur.
De leur.
Now in its third season, the show's producers, Paramount Global, have just begun a collaboration with Dharma, a travel startup specialising in brand-themed vacations, to license the creation of Emily in Paris vacation packages, allowing superfans to immerse themselves in the world of Emily Cooper for 4 nights and 5 days in the French capital. Hosted by lifestyle influencers known as Emilitas, the trips promise an itinerary curated to mirror Emily's preferences. The inaugural trip in April 2024, crafted by reality TV star Inez Tazi, comes with a price tag of $3,601 covering shared accommodations and activities but excluding the airfare. This tour, which costs double the price of a 12-day, 7-country European discovery tour with Kentucky that includes a stay in Paris, is strange because, based on Emily's character, a wide-eyed American marketing executive seemingly reluctant to assimilate into Parisian lifestyle, an immersive location tour seems at odds with the character portrayed in the show.
It's all in English.
This is Ralph Lauren's place. They're not even allowed to speak French here.
Oh, what a relief.
The Paris by Emily packages, catering to groups of 8 to 16 people, promise a range of attractions, including a class on the art of seduction and exclusive only Emily retail experiences. The itinerary also features activities like cocktail making and cafe French lessons, a peculiar addition considering Emily's initial resistance to learning the language beyond elementary vocabulary.
I'm going to be working in this office.
Je vais travailler dans ce bureau.
Emily's shallow engagement with French culture and a trail of seemingly endless faux pas has not been met with gratitude and appreciation by many Parisians. The show has faced criticism for relying on worn-out stereotypes about American expats and French culture.
The fashion, so chic. The lights, so magical. But the people, so mean.
Making it surprising to witness Hollywood endorsing trips based on the recommendations of a protagonist seemingly oblivious to the authentic life and charm of her adopted city. Emily regularly condescends to Parisians about their cultural differences, whether it's disbelief at the show's stereotypes of French romantic culture,
I don't get it. What's the point of being married if you're just going to cheat on your spouse?
their work culture, which is portrayed as lazy and indifferent,
Maybe we feel we have to work harder, make more money. Work makes you happy?
Yes.
Maybe you don't know what it is to be happy.
Well, maybe that's a little arrogant.
or their lack of awareness at the importance of social media.
The French are masters of social media.
True. But Americans invented it.
She's always presented as the Messiah. It's very stereotypical American saviorism, said Julia Perrault, 27, who grew up in Paris's suburbs and now works in communications. Residents living in the Latin Quarter area by the Place de l'Estrapade, a previously unremarkable yet quintessentially Parisian square where the Emily character lives next door to perennial French love interest Gabrielle, have had to completely readjust to their front doorsteps being overrun by beret-wearing selfie takers at all hours of the day and night. We have become an ultra-touristy district, whereas it was a small square still a bit preserved from tourism, said one local resident. Another resident emerging from Emily's apartment building said they were allergic to the show. Perhaps most tellingly is the red graffiti on the building's facade that says, in English, "Emily is not welcome." Place de l'Estrapade, named due to its location as a medieval torture site, is also the setting for the restaurant where Gabrielle is head chef and Emily's local bakery. The real-life bakery's real-life owner, Thierry Rabineau, has admitted that he is happy with the uptick in business, but it has come at a huge cost that could be devastating when the show inevitably loses its appeal. The hordes of Emily fans purchasing his baked goods in the hope of having a transformational French pastry experience like Emily has in the show are often disappointed due to their lofty expectations of a luxury patisserie instead of a standard French bakery selling croissants for €1.50. People are writing comments saying it's overpriced, it's not good, it's disgusting. This baffles me, Rabineau said. It's a modern bakery, a small neighbourhood bakery. We are profiting from a current situation, but in 2 or 3 years there won't be any more tourism and we will have to be here to survive, he said. Other local residents have also expressed contempt for the show and the impact it has had on Paris tourism. It was worse than cliché. It felt like it was Americans mocking French people, said one Parisian speaking to NBC. I don't understand their vision of Paris. Paris is not just about the Louvre, Saint-Germain and the Tuileries Gardens, said Alexandre Mihat, a 32-year-old Parisian listing the world-famous museum and art gallery, pristine public park and wealthy inner-city neighbourhood regularly used as settings in the show. Paris has very diverse neighbourhoods with different cultures. Even when she walks down the street, there's not one Arab, black or Asian person in the background. It's only white people, Mihat added. To me, this is not Paris. And it's not just native Parisians harbouring contempt for the show. American expatriates residing in Paris, the very demographic mirrored by Emily's character, have also expressed dismay at the stereotypes portrayed in the show. One expat said, Emily embarrasses me as I don't see her putting much effort into integrating into French life. After all those language lessons, she should know the difference between champagne and champignon. It's 2 or 3 syllables. It's really not that hard. The show even sparked controversy in Ukraine due to the portrayal of a character named Petra. Petra, a name uncommon in Ukraine, was depicted as a petty thief and shoplifter, leading to the trending hashtag #WeAreNotPetras. Oleksandr Kachenko, the Ukrainian Minister of Culture, even expressed his discontent, stating, In Emily in Paris, we have an unacceptable caricature of a Ukrainian woman. It is also insulting. Kachenko lodged a formal complaint with Netflix, and in response, Netflix acknowledged the dissatisfaction of Ukrainian viewers. They assured Kachenko that Petra would be presented in a different context in the upcoming 3rd season. Upon the release of Season 3 in late December, Le Monde, a prominent French newspaper, penned a critique suggesting that perhaps it is time to consider at least one season of Emily away from Paris. Writing in the French newspaper Libération, David Belliard, the deputy mayor of Paris, criticised the show for depicting a Disneyland Paris which is confined to the districts of the ultra-centre and is inhabited only by the richest people. It's clear the show has glamorized and sanitized many aspects of Paris, portraying it as an idyllic, affluent, Disneyland-esque playground for romantically inquisitive young people, where preened, attractive characters prance from one clean, well-lit setting to another, safely stroll around pristine streets unbothered in the middle of the day or night, and exclusively share these streets with other impeccably dressed hot people. Yes, it's silly to spend much time critiquing the realistic and cultural validity of a show that is essentially a big-budget soap opera and clearly never initially even set out to include an accurate portrayal of Paris in its narrative. Unfortunately, much like the modern propagation of auto-tune and face filters, its sphere of influence has given a portion of its enormous audience damagingly unrealistic expectations. Before the show was around to perpetuate these stereotypes, a phenomenon called Paris syndrome was already in full effect. So commonly experienced by tourists that it has its own specific name attributed to the cluster of psychiatric symptoms, Paris syndrome refers to a state of extreme culture shock suffered by visitors to Paris who arrive realizing that the city is not the idealized stereotype they had previously perceived.
I almost feel stupid for coming here, spending money. I even bought a French hat.
Just to be clear, Paris is beautiful. The city streets are teeming with historic hallmarks, sophistication, delicious delicacies, and artistic expression. The cultural mystique that Paris has cultivated is entirely warranted. The famous quotes from Van Gogh and Hemingway and Eliot and Miller romanticizing the French capital are all true. What is also true is that Paris is one of the most densely populated cities in the world and is the largest urban area in the EU. It is an incredibly diverse, crowded melting pot of cultures, races, and religions, political dissonance, extreme wealth and poverty, and hundreds of thousands of people struggling to make ends meet. This isn't the fault of one person, one city, or indeed one country. The same can be said for any giant metropolitan city. It is what it is. Other cities like London and New York are equally as polarizing, but Paris seems to be held to a more unrealistic standard by tourists who are confronted on arrival with the vandalism and sanitation issues, rough sleepers, street hustlers, derelict buildings, and poverty present in urban sprawl all over the world, instead of the shiny and colourful wonderland depicted in foreign media, like Emily in Paris, that they were expecting. Even one of the show's writers described it as a show about a white American selling luxury whiteness in a pre-pandemic Paris scrubbed free of its vibrant African and Muslim communities, making it all the more baffling that Paramount would be happy to license their IP to promote a tour encouraging international visitors to follow in the show's footsteps. In saying that, Paramount Global are no strangers to making polarizing decisions to promote Emily in Paris. The show inexplicably received 2 Golden Globe nominations in 2021, despite being a critical failure and at the expense of nominees that many thought were far more deserving. Before the ceremony, reports surfaced that 30 members of the Hollywood Foreign Press, the voting body members for the Golden Globes, had been flown to Paris during production for a 2-night stay at the Peninsula Paris, where they enjoyed a private lunch at the Musée des Arts Forains, allegedly funded by Paramount Network, the show's developer. This led to accusations of bribery and sparked a backlash that ultimately led to NBC dropping the Globe's ceremony from future broadcasts and an overhaul of the diversity of Hollywood Foreign Press members.
French exit is what I did after watching the first episode of Emily in Paris.
The CEO of Dharma, the tour company presenting the official Paris by Emily tour package, envisions an opportunity in the partnership, claiming that series like Emily in Paris create a desire for a seamless booking experience, with Paris offering an abundance of attractions that tourists may find hard to discern for themselves what to try and fit into a limited time visit to the city. The appeal of a pre-planned itinerary based on a favourite show is evident. However, Dharma markets the Paris by Emily trips as so shareable on its website, leaning into the social media influencer culture glamorized by Emily in the show, and emphasizing above all else the allure of returning home with aesthetically pleasing pictures. While of course capturing beautiful moments is undoubtedly part of any vacation, tourists who are motivated to travel to certain places purely to become a drop in the ocean of other visitors aggrandizing a trendy location for social media clout risk a disregard and lack of appreciation for the Parisian history, culture, cuisine, and architecture that has left an indelible mark on the world for centuries that they can experience with the precious time they do have in Paris. This culture of traveling purely to quench Instagram-imposed FOMO is not the fault of Emily in Paris, but at least according to some Parisians, the show is definitely perpetuating it. I'm not here to say that visitors to the French capital need to become historians and art critics during their stay. I'm not even Parisian, and it is not my intention to speak on their behalf. I'm sure there are many Parisians who also appreciate the show and are grateful that it may have inspired a swathe of Emily in Paris fans to visit their beautiful city. Instead, I'll leave you with a final quote from a Paris resident. Stay at home if you plan to visit Paris, not to appreciate a modest part of what France has to offer, but to follow in the footsteps of a stupid character from a poorly written television series insulting French culture.
You don't speak French.
Fake it till you make it.
If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, leave a like and a comment, and check out some of the other travel stuff in our feed. Take it easy, and we'll see you in the next one.